The Indian in the Cupboard is a 1995 family fantasy film directed by Frank Oz that would be a classic for many children during the 1990s. Omri, played by Hal Scardino, is a grade school boy who lives in Manhattan with his mom Jane, played by Lindsay Krause, and his father Victor, played by Richard Jenkins, as well as his older brother. On his 9th birthday, he receives an old cupboard from his brother and a toy Native American figurine from his best friend Patrick, played by Rishi Bhatt. After getting a key for the cupboard from his mom, Omri puts the toy inside of the cupboard and locks the cupboard door.
What will I put in the cupboard?
Here, put this in.
The next morning, he awakens to the sound of tapping coming from within the cupboard and finds that the toy has magically come to life.
Can you be the peacemaker?
I'm a boy. My name is Omri.
Great Spirit can be a child.
Who are you?
Okwai. Little Bear.
Little Bear.
The toy reveals himself to be an 18th century Iroquois Indian named Little Bear, played by Lightfoot, who was fighting in the French and Indian War on the side of the British. Little Bear sees Omri as a giant spirit, and the two become friends, with Omri learning that Little Bear is a widower.
The day came without you. Do you make more magic now? Plastic things?
Make what?
A white man's gun.
Oh, no way. What else?
Make King George. I would like to see him.
I don't have any kings.
Where's your fire? How does your wife cook?
We're inside. We can't have a fire. And I don't have a wife. Do you have a wife?
She died.
I'm sorry.
Omri eventually tells Patrick, who decides to bring a toy of his own to life, a toy cowboy who comes to life in the form of a cowboy from 1879 named Boohoo Boone, played by David Keith.
Oh, my dear sweet Lord. I need a drink.
Patrick.
This is just getting worse by the minute.
Will you bring him to school tomorrow? School?
Everybody's so big.
Will you be okay? Don't cry.
I always cry. The boys call me Boo-Hoo Boone. I've got a soft heart.
Patrick!
Bring him to school tomorrow. Promise? I promise. Don't put them together. You know, cowboys and Indians. Duh.
Indians.
Redskins.
No!
Hey, what do you need? You better put me down. Who do you think you are? Telling you what's the truth, I'll lay you in your grave.
While initially hostile to each other, the two become friendly, especially after both of them are brought to school by Omri and Patrick.
You ever been west of Mississippi? Big river?
I have traveled to the far north.
Land of the Micmacs.
Micmacs, huh? Sound too cold for me. Must be pretty country, though.
Yes, cold. Purdy.
After Omri and Patrick watch a movie that depicts cowboys killing Indians, Little Bear inadvertently shoots an arrow into Boone's chest. Omri is able to save Boone with the help of another toy brought to life, a World War I medic played by Steve Coogan.
Oh, that's clever. Well, hello again.
Bleeding stopped.
Yes, good. It could do with a blood transfusion, really, but I'm not prepared for that. A bullet, was it?
Arrow.
Well, lucky it missed his heart and lung.
As Little Bear realizes Omri is just a child, Omri comes to the realization that sooner or later, Little Bear will have to go back where he came from, and that soon it will be time to put the Indian in the cupboard.
Great Spirit,
Yes, Little Bear.
tell me about the Onondaga God. Are we always a great people?
You are always a great people. But it's not always so good.
Things change for us.
They will.
Lynn Reed Banks wrote the original novel in 1980 as a bedtime story for her son Omri Stevenson. In the original book, Omri lives in London, England. In this movie, he lives in New York City. Many writers and producers of the 1982 film E.T. the Extraterrestrial collaborated on this project. Director Frank Oz, best known for his work with Jim Henson's The Muppets and work in John Landis films including The Blues Brothers and Trading Places, stated that he was reluctant to direct this movie. He didn't think of himself as a children's director. Frank Oz got permission from George Lucas to use the Star Wars character Darth Vader in this film. Released into theaters in July 1995, The Indian in the Cupboard grossed $35.7 million on a budget of $45 million. This made the film a box office disappointment. Lynn Reed Banks wrote 5 volumes in the Indian in the Cupboard book series, 4 of which had been published by 1995. The poor box office performance of this movie canceled plans to adapt the other books into films. While this movie flopped at the box office, the film would find an audience on home video, especially after being shown in classrooms in elementary schools all around the United States. I can attest to that because the first time I ever saw this movie was in my grade school classroom when I was a kid in the mid-1990s. In fact, I remember watching it in different classes on a couple different occasions. It was a rather popular film for teachers to show students. I actually own the VHS tape too. I think my mom bought it for me. And it came with a little Indian with the key. And then you could turn the clamshell of the VHS box into a cupboard. I liked this movie, and I think if you are looking for a nice hour-and-a-half long family film, then you should check out The Indian in the Cupboard.